Hello students, welcome back. Rise of Nationalism in Europe topic, and in this third part we will be talking about the age of revolutions from 1830 to 1848. So we'll go back to the notes which will be easier for us to understand the chapter. Liberalism and nationalism came to be associated with revolution in many regions of Europe such as Italian and German states, the provinces of Ottoman Empire, Ireland and Poland. So these liberalist nationalists, they started revolutions in other parts of Europe, and new states were formed like Italy, Germany, and many countries were formed from the Ottoman Empire, Ireland, and Poland, etc. In France, a revolution broke in 1830. The Bourbon king were overthrown by liberal revolutionaries. Now, to understand this, who were Bourbon kings? Bourbon king dynasty was established after the Napoleon was defeated and through the Treaty of Vienna. So in 1830, when liberal nationalists started a revolution in France, so the Bourbon king were again overthrown by the liberal revolutionaries. What happened after that? They installed a constitutional monarchy with Louis Philippe at its head. So now a democracy has been established again in France after 1830 revolution, and it is a constitutional monarchical form of government. That means it is a democracy which is being elected on the basis of the constitution, but the head of the state will be a monarch, and the new monarch is Louis Philippe. Now remember this statement by Metternich. Metternich, as we had read in the earlier part of the chapter, that he is the chancellor of Austria-Hungary Empire. So now he remarked that when France sneezes, Metternich once remarked, the rest of Europe catches cold. According to this statement, Metternich wants to say that when France, anything happens in France, it spreads to the rest of the Europe. Now coming to the next, the July Revolution sparked an uprising in Brussels which led to Belgium breaking away from the United Kingdoms of Netherlands. So now, before the July Revolution, Brussels is the capital of Belgium today. Belgium was part of United Kingdom of Netherlands. But when the July Revolution broke out, Belgium and Netherlands became two different countries. Next point, Greece had been part of the Ottoman Empire since the 15th century. But now for this we need to go back to the map. Now see, this is the Ottoman Empire, this is Turkey, today's Turkey, and this is Greece. All this area was under the Ottoman Empire. So the Greece had come under the Ottoman Empire in the 15th century when the Roman Empire had ended, the Eastern Roman Empire. So now Greece is fighting for its independence from the Ottoman Empire. The growth of revolutionary nationalism in Europe sparkled of a struggle for independence amongst the Greek. The Treaty of Constantinople of 1832 recognized Greece as an independent nation. Many a times this one word question comes, that what is the Treaty of Constantinople related to independence of Greece in 1832. Now we come to the romantic imagination and national feeling. So till now we were studying only about nationalism spreading on the basis of army. Now we'll be talking about how did culture also play a big role in the development of national feeling. The development of nationalism did not come about only through wars and territorial expansion. Culture played an important role in creating the idea of the nation. Romanticism. Now this is very important, the definition. A cultural movement which sought to develop a particular form of national sentiment. So now national sentiments, feeling of nationalism is being developed through cultural programs, movements. And what are these? Romantic artists and poets focused on emotions, institutions, and mystical feelings. So to develop attack on the emotions of the citizens, these artists and poets focused. Other romantics were through folk songs, folk poetry, and folk dances that the true spirit of the nation. So that means local songs, local poetry, local dances, all these were developed, and a feeling of nationalism, unity was being developed on the basis of emotions. Now to understand romantic imagination and national feeling, we need to understand the case of Poland, which had played a big role in development of nationalism on the basis of culture. Poland. Now, this again we need to go to the map. Poland was part of the Russian Empire and part of the Persian Empire, so there was no actual nation out there. And how did Poland develop a feeling of nationalism? We'll study. Yeah. Poland had been partitioned by great powers, Persia, Russia, and Austria. So all these three powers were controlling parts of Poland, and Poland was not a country. So how did this feeling of one nation come into the people of Poland? National feelings were kept alive through music and languages. Operas and music, folk dances kept alive the nationalist spirit. This is for the Poland people. Language too played an important role in developing nationalist sentiments. Russian language was imposed everywhere. So the area which was under the Russian Empire, they were forced to speak only Russian. The use of Polish came to be seen as a symbol of struggle against the Russian dominance. So the people of Polish language started to develop their own Polish language and started to speak only contact only in Polish language, and this was trying to show as a symbol of struggle against the Russian dominance. Now we come to the next topic: hunger, hardship, and popular revolt. Now, what were the conditions in 1830? How were the people economic condition? How was it? How was that working? The 1830s were the years of great economic hardship in Europe. Increase in population, more seekers of job, population from rural areas migrated to the cities. So this was the time of industrialization in Europe, and what is happening? Population is increasing, and many people are moving from rural areas to the urban areas, and there are more people applying for jobs than actually jobs are existing. So there is more of an unemployment going out there. Small producers in towns were often faced with stiff competition from imports of cheap machine made goods. Now through industrialization, what is happening, that small producers who were producing goods at home, so they were having a big competition from the goods which were coming from other countries and which was cheap and machine made. The aristocracy enjoyed power, peasants struggled under the burden of feudal dues and obligations. What is happening in the society? The society is being controlled by the aristocrats, and they were less in number, but they enjoyed power. They were not paying any tax, they were living a luxury life. Whereas the peasants, which was the majority of the population, was burdened because of the dues, taxes, and to follow the rules of the aristocratic people. The rise of food prices or a year of bad harvest led to widespread pauperism in town and country. Pauperism means poverty. So if the prices would rise, or if the crop was destroyed by a bad harvest, then what will happen? Poverty will increase in town as well as in country. Out here the word country has been used for the rural area. Now coming to the next point, in 1848, food shortage and widespread unemployment brought the population of Paris out on roads, and Louis Philippe was forced to flee. So now what has happened in this revolution of 1830, when Bourbon king was overthrown and Louis Philippe was made the head of the uh, government. Now again in 1848, what has happened, that there is a revolution in France, in Paris, and Louis Philippe is forced to run away because of the revolution. He runs away, and in these 18 years only, this Louis Philippe's government falls down. National Assembly proclaimed a republic, granted suffrage to adult males above 21, and guaranteed the right to work. So again, a National Assembly has been set up, and it has been proclaimed a republic now. Earlier it was a democratic government, but it was a constitutional monarchy. Now after 1848, what is happening? France becomes a republic, and it grants right to vote. Suffrage means right to vote to all adult males above 21, and it has guaranteed right to work to the people of France. Now we come to the next topic, 1848, the revolutions of the liberals. Now this 1848 which start 48 revolution which started in France, this paved a way for all the other European countries also to follow what France had done. Now, first point, 1848, a revolution led by the educated middle class. All the revolutions are being led by these educated middle class, and these are known as liberal nationalists. Men and women of liberal middle classes combined their demands for constitutionalism with national unification. So now these liberal nationalists, they are demanding for constitutional rights with unification of nation. They drafted a constitution for German nations to be headed by a monarchy subject to a parliament. So now we come to the region next to Persia, which was the German states which had formed a custom union. So now what do these German nations do? They draft a constitution and want that it should be made a nation, and the head of that nation will be the monarch, who will be from Persia. William IV, king of Persia, rejected it and joined other monarchs to oppose the elected assembly. This assembly, which had drafted a constitution and wanted a nation, German nation, and to be headed by the king of Persia, but actually the king of Persia rejected their demand and went on the side of the monarchs who were conservatives and who were against the liberal nationalists. While the oppositions of the aristocracy and military became stronger, the social basis of parliament eroded. So now what is happening when the aristocracy and the military became stronger and they opposed the liberal nationalists? So the idea of the parliament and formation of a German nation eroded away, means it finished away. The issue of extending political rights to women was a controversial one within the liberal movements. Now, the movement in liberal nationalist, what was happening? There was a controversial issue that women did not have any rights to vote if they were owning property also. So now what happens? The liberal nationalists, in that the women who were part of the liberal nationalists started to demand for political rights, right to vote. Women had formed their own political associations, founded newspapers, and taken part in political meetings and demonstrations. So women have started their own movements for political rights, equal rights. Monarchs were beginning to realize that the cycles of revolution and repression could be ended by granting concession to the liberal nationalist revolutionaries. So now, wherever there were monarchical form of government, they started to realize, they came to know that now you cannot repress these liberal nationalist revolutionaries. So what is the thing to be done? You have to give them some concession, you have to give them some rights, so that the people will favor monarchy and will not go on the side of the liberal nationalist revolutionaries, and they can save their monarchical form of government.